We talked a bit about benefits before, but let's return to this idea of benefits. The smart grid, what is the benefit? We'll talk about consumers in a second. What is the benefit for you as a utility to install a smart grid?
The benefit would actually be that we could save money from doing traditional investment in just what we call strengthening grid, which basically is put in bigger transformer, dig down bigger cables and stuff like that. If we were able to have some kind of ways to move consumption away from what we call peak hours, which is during the middle of the day when everybody is home and cooking and stuff like that. If we were able to shift that load to different times of the day, for example, where the load is not so high.
Why is that beneficial to you?
Because we could save save investment of renewing cables and all that, and we could sort of, instead of having a curve going like this, we could have more of a flat curve, and that would extend the livelihood of the cables, but also the capacity of the cables. So that could be a huge benefit from the grid, and it would also allow us to make more room for renewables actually, and that is also something that will be key in the future.
Tell me a bit more about how it would make more room for renewables.
For example, if you have a grid which is basically at peak hours overloaded, you cannot just start pumping renewable energy into the grid. You will simply overload the cable, for example, and that you cannot have. So we have terms in Denmark where we, for example, switch off our wind farms, for example, because we already have enough of the grid. Imagine that we could go to a place where we could do our washing, we could do our cooking, we could do our heating of the homes in hours where we had abundance of energy available in the grid, primarily from renewable energy, and then we could only use the grid in peak hours from conventional sources such as coal power plants and stuff like that. We really need to make sure that we're able to allow all that renewable in the grid, and for us to do that, we need to be able to control and manage the grid in a more intelligent way that we do it today. And I think that's probably why it's called smart grid.
That's really interesting, and part of that intelligence is gathering both from smart meters and from the grid itself.
Yeah.
A lot of data.
A lot of data.
What do you do with that data? What's the potential of that data?
Wow, yeah, it's huge, and it's not only data collected from the smart metering points as such. It could also be data from different weather sources, for example. How will the wind forecast be? How will the solar forecast be, and stuff like that? And you have to actually combine all those kinds of data. But for now, for example, just to have the utility know the exact level of load that each cable has, that would be a huge benefit, because to be honest, we don't know that now. We know we probably have enough, but we don't know how much is that. So we need a lot of more concrete data than we have
So even
today.
from that relatively sort of simple level
Yeah, it's
of understanding.
really simple. Yes, it is.
That's very interesting.
Some of it.